Good morning. This is Ricky from Ricky's Collectibles Den. Hope you guys are doing well and welcome back to my channel. Today I got a coin for you. I used to collect coins and I've got a few left over. I sold them or traded them back in the day. But yeah, I got a few left over that I really wanted to keep. And one of them is called a Kennedy accented hair. And you'll say, well, what is that? Some of you might know. And what it is in 1964, well, in 1963, President Kennedy was assassinated on November 22nd. And Congress got together and Jacqueline Kennedy too, wanted to put Kennedy's bust on a coin. And they were milling around which coin to use, and Jacqueline wanted to use the $50. Well, Franklin hadn't done the 25 years yet. It was, law that you had to do 25 years before you took it off. And Congress, Jacqueline wanted the 50-cent piece that Franklin was on. He started in 48 and this was 1963. So he hadn't done the 25 years for coming up 64. So Congress passed a law to let Kennedy go on to 64. So this was in November. So in January, they started striking mint, state, and proof coins on the 50-cent piece. And what I mean by proof coins are they were struck for collectors. And they didn't strike that many of them. Mint state coins were in the millions and millions for banks, you could use to spend. And of course, people were lined up around the banks and around the streets, to get these coins, and especially as collector coins, they were lined up to get them. They didn't strike about 4 million of these coins in proof. And they were for collectors, like I say, to collect and keep, not to spend, but you could spend them. And so they started striking these coins. And when they started striking them, someone said, do you think we ought to let Jacqueline prove it? And someone said, yeah, I think we ought to. So they got Jacqueline in on it, and she said, no, I don't like it. And they hadn't struck but about 100,000, I think. And this is what they got when she looked at it. And you can see over his ear, you can see it pretty good. See the V, kind of V-shaped over his ear? And it kind of reminded her of a gunshot. She didn't like it at all, so she said, I don't like it. We need to redo it. And like I say, 100,000 were already struck, and they didn't want them to get out, but they got out. And you see that. If you've got one, chances are they're not accented hair. You can see at the top. And it's graded 64, which is not a high grade, but this one, luckily, don't have milk spots, and I'll explain about that. If you look under it on a magnifying glass, it's got some tiny ones. This is a nice looking coin for a grade 64. And they go from all the way to low grade to 70, which is a perfect coin. So you can see it's got a little ways to go. And this grade in a 64, you can still get them for around $60 to $80 to $100. I guess I haven't looked it up recently, but it's probably still that price. And but in the 65 on up, it starts jumping up there a couple $100, $300. You get it into 68, 69, you're looking into a few thousand, and you get to the cameo, which I mean, this is not, when the die gets worn out, you don't have any cameo. What I mean by that is the bust is, when they first start striking it with the new die, the bust is kind of frosty, and you've seen coins like that, where the proof coin, the bust is frosty, and it can get real frosty, and that's the new die. And then they kind of wear out and they get like this where they're not frosty. They're all just shiny. Excuse me. Frog in my throat. And some people say, well, they're not proof if they look just like this, but they are. Make the coin is just wore down. So when they're frosty looking, it makes a they call cameo, ultra cameo, deep cameo. It makes the coin worth more. So Jacqueline didn't like it, and they pulled him. Like I say, about 100,000 got out. And I read these. I read this book. Rick Tomaska is an expert on Kennedy half dollars and Franklin half dollars. He really is. And I've got something that kind of looks like, well, nothing like this. It's got a little toning to it. And when I mean toning, it gets the air to it, over the years, and gets a green and yellow and red and stuff to it. It's nothing like this, but that's called toning. Anyway, there's one Kennedy. But anyway, it's got a section in here on the Kennedy accented hair. I don't want to go this video too long. And it reads in here about, they struck about 4 million proofs, and estimated only about 100,000 of those got out. And in 1979 and 1980, 30% to 50% were melted for the bullion. Silver went up to $50 an ounce. So people were melting them down, getting their money back, or not back, but getting a lot of money for them. So they're melting all their silver. Estimated 30% to 50% of these coins were melted. So it didn't leave a lot, 70 to 50,000 left. So they're kind of scarce, but they're really scarce in high grade. And this is not a high grade, but it looks good. And I'm talking about milk spots. They wash the planchets that goes in there to make the coin in. They wash it kind of a soapy residue. And after they wash them, they clean them. And sometimes they don't get all the residue off. And when they strike the coin, it leaves milky looking spots on it. And it can be real fine. Like if you take a magnifying glass to this coin, you can see some real fine spots. Maybe it looks like a little grain of salt, little bitty grain of salt, which don't look bad on the naked eye. But some spots can be bad. And they're all over the coin, on the back of the coin. They can take over half the coin, just a big white spot. And it's called milk spots in the hobby. And still uncirculated. It hasn't been used, hasn't been spent or anything, so it's still uncirculated. So it still gets a good grade, maybe a 62, 63, something like that. So, but anyway, mine looks good. And I talked to the guy that owned this company when I ordered this, and he said we just got them in a new batch graded, and they really look good. And I didn't want to spend a whole lot on it, so I took his word on it and got one, and it really does look good. It really does for what I paid for it. So anyway, talking about Miss Kennedy, did not like the design on it, and her husband's hair didn't look good to her, so they redid it. And I think they've changed it a couple times since 1964, and maybe subtle changes that you won't really recognize if someone didn't point it out to you. But I can't remember what they were, but maybe in the 80s or 90s. And why, I don't know. But it's a great coin. I mean, it's a great coin to collect if you don't spend a lot of money to get a 64. Like I say, $60 to $80. You can look it up. Last time I looked it up, and it wasn't too long ago, I think $60 to $80. You can get one if you get a good one that looks like mine instead of the little spots on it. I think it's a good coin to collect if you're going to get into coins or you just want a coin that's historical value or historical means, you know, you can get one of these. I really do. It's a great coin. That looks good too. So yeah. It's called the Kennedy 50-cent accented hair. There again, you can see that. V over there, I think. Hopefully you can see it. Kind of sticks out. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. Video went along, but I want to explain it to you. And so that's the accented hair. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. And you guys have a great day.